Hi, my name is Ravs. My good friend Nicky has invited me onto his video to talk about the modern man and how masculinity is fading. Enjoy the video.
Hi there guys, welcome back to my channel. King Miklo here. Today I've got a very special guest that I really respect and admire. I want to get his thoughts in if masculinity is dead in today's society. Now I'm just going to give a short little introduction of Ravi. He's someone in my life that I really respect. I see him as a big male figure in my life. And in terms of what traditional masculinity is, I put him in the same category. So, if you'd like to introduce yourself, welcome to the video. Thank you for joining.
Thank you for bringing me on. My name is Ravi. I'm 33 years old. I'm training to be a financial advisor, married with 2 children, and that's pretty much me.
Okay, fantastic. So obviously I brought you onto the video for a specific reason. Now, I'm just going to go off the bat. Is masculinity dead in today's society? And what are your perceptions of masculinity? We'll start off with that bit first.
I don't think masculinity is dead in this society. However, I do think it has decreased a lot throughout the decades.
Yeah.
Especially within men. When I talk about masculinity, this is within men. I do think there's a lot of women who've picked up on the lack of masculinity in men, so they've had to become more masculine. And today's society just allows it nullifies men's natural masculine behaviour from the very moment we're born, where it's been suppressed. Where with women, they're allowed and they're kind of pushed into the fact that they have to be more masculine. But then also on the flip side is because masculinity still needs to be there in the world. And it's not in with the males aren't being very masculine at the moment.
Okay. So obviously, on this channel, we don't really give a shit about, what people say. It doesn't matter. It's mainly based on, obviously for my views and for myself. I'd rather speak the truth, personal truths and so on. So what, in your eyes, what is the definition of masculinity? What does that look like in a man?
Well, I'd like to hear what your version of masculinity is.
Yeah. For me, I was raised in a very traditional household. I'm from Ethiopia. I was raised there. I came here when I was 8. So for me, a traditional man is someone who looks after the family, big family values, is willing to work hard for his family, is looking to provide so that his woman at home can be taken care of, looking after the kids. Something that's been around for thousands of years, but now it's like kind of seen as a bit taboo. Like, yeah, the woman can work. Of course they can, don't get me wrong, but in my eyes, I just think masculinity is like something within that we're all born with, especially with men. It's the aggression that we're born with, but controlled, knowing how to control it, knowing how to give solutions to tough situations, knowing how to not, falter under immense pressures from everyday life, and also being kind of the brick wall when everyone around you that you care about is kind of emotionally unstable. You are the definition of not moving, and you're not going to budge to any kind of stresses. That's what my idea of masculinity is, anyway.
Well, I think you touched upon it then. I think it's very much in our genetic makeup, as in men in general are more masculine. It's just the way we're born. I do believe at the same time both men and women have both masculine qualities and both men and women have both feminine qualities. However, I think a woman in general, genetic makeup alone, a woman tends to be slightly more feminine and a man tends to be slightly more masculine. And you're completely right, as in masculinity starts off as in one of the traits is aggression. And I think aggression is key for a man. However, at the same time, he should learn how to be aggressive and control the aggression. Learn how to be the monster, as Jordan Peterson puts it, and then control the aggression. It just makes him more in control, rather than a man who's all he does is aggression, is not a grown-up man, is not a form of a traditional masculinity in my eyes.
It's a very emotional man.
Yes, a man who reacts on impulse.
So obviously nowadays, if you say you have to be aggressive, even controlled aggression, just using that word, it sets off a red flag in a lot of people's eyes. aggression is kind of now seen as something that, you know, is like caveman days. We don't need it in today's society. Everything's, you know, pretty comfortable on this side of the world. What is it about people that make them think in that aspect?
Because we've not had a crisis. It's been such a long time without having an actual crisis.
Yeah.
Talk about in the broader scheme of things. Last time I could think of was World War II. That's when men had to be very aggressive.
Yeah.
And now, because it's been such a long time, the word aggression leads to violence. I don't agree with violence. Violence is not the answer.
Yeah.
Boxing is a different thing. That's more of a sport. But when aggression leads to violence, that leads to more issues, and then that is not a trait of masculinity.
We always noticed that the ones who actually know how to control their aggression, you know, doing martial arts, boxing, any kind of sort of combat sports, they're the calmest. They are the people who are the last person to put up their fists when it comes into situations that will require kind of like, you know, confrontational aspects. It's simply because the man, in my eyes, the man who doesn't know how to control his aggression or fight in this instance, when it comes to physical combat, it's kind of like an insecurity, lashing out, proving to themselves, I am capable of that. But the truth is they're not. Whereas the person who's trained, controlled that aggression over a number of years through discipline and practice, they know exactly what they're capable of. They can spot when another man is more emotional than controlled. And in my eyes, that is the definition of controlled aggression. I think every man should know how to at least defend themselves or find a way to control that aggression.
From a different angle, you're 100% right. But from another angle, another massive trait of masculinity is logic. It is the analytical side. It is the very much in a situation.
Yeah.
If a situation occurs, how does a man or a person react in that situation? And to go to the lengths of, let's say, training boxing from a young age, or learning how to fight from a young age, that is an experience, and you create these experiences, and then you can, when later down the line, when you've learned how to control your anger and your aggression, later on down the line, the experience that you have makes you aware of certain situations and how to handle certain situations. So if a man has never had that experience of learning how to fight and controlling that aggression, then he's not going to know how to handle that aggression when he is going to be burdened with it at that moment in time. It does happen. There's going to be a time where a man will have to face some sort of conflict, and to react in an emotional way is a negative.
Perfect. So that's masculinity, controlled aggression and so on, being logical. Now let's talk about the polar opposites real quick. Obviously this video is going to be about masculinity, so we're not going to touch on this too much, but the polar opposite of, you said something earlier at the beginning, which was in today's society with femininity, because men are not as traditionally as masculine before, the women have had to step up and kind of fill in the gap. Do you think we can continue as a society like that, or do we need to revert back to in order to see like actual good change?
I'm very conflicted on this argument. There's one side, if we want to revert back to the original, I believe in true happiness. And I believe a man is only truly happy when he's on a path. A man who's not on a path is not truly happy, and he'll be lost. And I think one of the reasons why the suicide rate for men is so high, or going forward, is moving or stepping away from the nuclear family. That's an unknown. I don't like the idea, but we can't live with this traditional methods and traditional mentality that we have with the new wave, because the divorce rates are too high. There's a number of reasons why the divorce rates are too high.
It's almost 60% now, isn't it?
It was 50% in the 90s, and it's only increasing. Masculinity, because it's been dampened through society, through school, through the way we see the world, through the fact that for the lack of crisis we've had, women are in employment now, And one of the things I believe, I'm not sure if everyone else might believe in this as well, but masculine traits tend to be where the money is.
Yeah.
So for you to be in a role, you need to have a masculine trait for you to earn more money and do better.
Yeah.
And I think that's where the issue lies. I think because I don't think it's anyone's fault.
Yeah.
But I do think men need to be taught more masculinity from a young age, or at least let them be themselves, rather than them society dampening them.
Yeah.
They need to allow that they're allowed to be men.
Yeah.
They're allowed to be aggressive when they're younger. There's a reason why when children are born from the early ages, from 1 to from a very young age, they always say for a boy, strapping lad.
Yeah.
For a girl, a princess.
Yeah.
When a girl hurts herself, there's a reason why everyone surrounds her, because they're more precious.
Yeah.
When a boy hurts himself, we have to learn how to learn from that experience and be better next time. I think that's very important.
Yeah, obviously, because like as we're putting ourselves as boys, we want to play rough, we want to fight, all that stuff. We're putting ourselves in more aggressive situations. So because it's going to continue, obviously we have to learn, adapt and push on. Whereas the girl is kind of like an unfortunate incident. Like you said you're a father of 2 girls, love them to bits. What do they class as, like, it must be different compared to raising a boy. How have you taken that role? Because masculinity as well is knowing how to raise the next generation.
Yes.
Providing a good, strong father figure.
Well, it was very strange actually. When they were just born, I attacked fatherhood at an angle of, I'm going to let them choose what they want to do. I'm not going to buy them dolls and everything straight away. I'm going to let them choose what they wanted to do.
Yeah.
And straight away, both my girls decided that they wanted to play with dolls. Both of them decided that they were like makeup. They like the feminine qualities.
Yeah.
So I still to this day, I don't believe masculine and feminine. I think they need to learn both ends. I'm trying not to force them to too much of a feminine way or too much of a masculine way. I'm going to try and let them lead the way, and I want to guide them to whichever way they want.
Yeah.
If either of them want to choose a career path, I'm going to guide them and tell them which ways to do it and help them that way.
Yeah.
If they both decide to be mothers, or either of them decide to be mothers, I'm going to guide them and teach them the best way to be mothers, because I'll be surrounded by incredible women, incredible mothers.
Yeah.
And I know how important it is, how important this world is with mothers. Mothers are the most important thing on this planet.
Yeah. And it's funny you say that. I can't lie, going back to the whole masculinity topic, being protectors, that's a big masculine trait, wanting to protect and preserve. And right now, mothers are being shat on. Apparently it's a backward thing now to be a mother. They don't realize it's the toughest job in the world. We've come from very family orientated kind of traditions and family. And we know that there's no one on earth that works harder than mothers. They know how to be the nurses, the doctors, looking after them, the therapists, literally everything. And I feel like the mother role, a feminine mother role, is quite in raising the next generation. Masculine men, feminine women, either way, doesn't matter.
There's a few things I like to talk about this when it comes to mothers. One of the things is, when we as humans think of a topic, we always think of the extremes, especially from a feminine perspective. We always think of the extremes.
Yeah.
So when motherhood comes into the conversation of I am a full-time mum, people don't see a full-time mum as in she cares for the whole family, she cleans for the whole family, she raises children. Like, that's incredible.
Yeah.
Instead, they see the kids go to school at 3 o'clock in the morning. They get picked up at 3 o'clock. And she sits around, goes to coffees all the time. And I think that's an extreme from a mother who's capable of doing that. One thing I do know, especially with the women that have been brought up in my life, that's not what a mother does in today's world. That is a very extreme certain circumstance. A mother pretty much raises the children and looks after the family. Where on the flip side, where a masculine man would, as you say, protect I think that's in us. I think in masculinity, that's in us to protect our family. We're all, in general, we want to protect. So that's why we get married. That's why we have children. That's why we have families, because it's in us to try to protect something.
Yeah.
Another side I also look at it is the news kind of portrays mothers also being a bad thing as well, or not mothers being a bad thing, but not working being a bad thing.
Yeah, big time.
Mainly because, this is my theory, and I don't know how correct this is, but I believe it. A lot of women that are on TV have to be masculine to get into these positions.
Yeah.
The news presenters, the
other channel,
anyone who's on TV, that they have to be masculine to get these roles. They are fighting against other women or other people to get to these high-paying roles. So these people believe that what they did for themselves is right for everyone.
Yeah.
And we don't even know what they did for themselves is right long term. I think we do need to revert back to what long-term happiness is and where does long-term happiness lie. Because when I saw my grandma in a room full of all her sons, all her grandchildren,
almost 100 people in the room,
I think that's what true happiness is for a woman. She's raised this whole room full of many different people, and they all look up to her and say, John, this is the woman that raised me. From grandchildren, two sons.
100%. Even if women don't want to take that path and want to go career, not a problem. We're not saying that they shouldn't. Saying right now we're diverting so far away from that, it's a bit crazy. And speaking back to the importance of like a motherhood and so on, with my mother personally, just, with my dad, I learned discipline, I learned logic, how to, not back down and continue forward and pushing forward and wanting better for myself. And as a mom, I learned the more compassionate side, how to, explore my own feelings, my emotions, cultivate relationships, sympathy, empathy. That's everything that a mother instills in their children, all the feminine qualities. Because at the end of the day, a masculine man is not this tough, rugged guy that, doesn't confront his feelings and is aggressive to everything in sight. It's someone who has complete control of their emotions and physical kind of aspects.
Well, 100%. It's how to deal with your emotions. I won't say control, because it shows that you have to control it all the time. It's how to deal with your emotions at specific times. Does a woman want their man, a husband, to be very emotional, very in all sorts of different kind of emotions? When he's sad, he shows his sad. When he's angry, he shows his anger. We're not supposed to be that way, as in from a masculine perspective, from a generic masculine perspective, we're not supposed to be that way. We're supposed to be, we have our ways to control our emotions.
Our emotions don't control us.
We have our ways to deal with our emotions, and it's not always the same way as how a woman deals with their emotions. I think that's one of the issues that we have in our society, that we're trying to do a one thing fits all. A man should be emotional. Not necessarily. A woman's okay to be emotional because they can get it off the chest and they're perceived still to be feminine. When a man becomes emotional, they're perceived to be feminine, and they're traits that another woman doesn't like, tend to not like.
So, in terms of, obviously now you see on TV, just like you said, everyone needs to be equal and this and that. I think that is utter bullshit, personally. I'm more into equity. So, which is basically, not everyone starting on the same starting line, but certain advantages are kind of kept back and disadvantages are kind of pushed forward to give everyone the same kind of fighting chance, really, and to start a more fair kind of approach. And I want to know what kind of your views on that.
My main view is I disagree with you. I think in today's society, the way we are made, I do believe people have certain advantages. People are born with certain advantages. People are born with certain disadvantages. I'm talking about the generic person,
of course,
the average person. So I believe that person has to make that gap up themselves. And I think we can't keep letting things off. What I mean by that is we can't keep saying because you've had you've been born in a situation which is less than somebody else.
Yeah.
We can't just say, okay, here you go. We have to instill that guy or that person, has to make up that gap through hard work ethic and time. It's just some people are born with a lot of money. Some people aren't born with a lot of money. So that's something that you have to do yourself. And the reason I believe that is because the way we're trying to set it up is that everyone's equal and equity.
Yeah.
I think we're setting up a world where we try a blame game. I think we're in a society now where it's okay because this person's born at this level and you're born at this level, and you'll never be able to bridge the gap.
Yeah.
And I disagree with that. The whole, it's because I wasn't born there. He has this advantage. I just think we should learn how to bridge that gap.
Yeah.
If you're at this level and he's at this level, how do I attain that level? How do I get close to him? And that's because of work ethic and time.
Not many people nowadays, men in my opinion, want to bridge that gap, get too used to the idea of comfortability and imagining themselves in a situation where they're working day and night in pursuit of something great and unknown. It just doesn't appeal to people anymore. Like the great dream of, working hard, it kind of dies off as you get older as a man. And that's why you really need to take advantage of, obviously while you're younger. Any man can do it anytime. It will just be harder as you get older, more responsibilities when you have children, married and so on. But honestly, it's been great talking to you, Rav, and I just love to just give you a big thanks. Love your advice, love your tips as well, and your own perspective. Really appreciate it.
No, it's been a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
No worries.